Does your vision for business match what you see happening on a daily basis? Welcome to Jim White's Circle of Success show, where Jim White brings it all together. For over 30 years, Jim White has worked with organizations and individuals worldwide to help develop and implement excellence. You'll get the inside story on how to create innovative leaders from one corner of your company to the other. Get everyone on your team contributing to the bottom line. Keep building revenue, even when the economy and your customers have flatlined, and more. Jim White's Circle of Success show covers it all, from communication to contract negotiation, from personal fulfillment to revving up cash flow. It's not about theories, it's about showing what works and how to make it work for you. And now, here's your host, Jim White.
Thank you, David, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. We got a fantastic show for you today. We're going to have three different distinct segments, if you will. But before we get into segment one, I want to thank Wayne Clancy and all of our guests from last week, and also for your response. We've had just a huge response in regards to our announcement of the One World Living on Purpose, so thank you for that. And that's watchmypurpose.com for new viewers. Go ahead and take a look at that. And we want to start receiving from you stories, suggestions of people that you think would add a tremendous amount of value when we start putting together a new book and the movie. So I just wanted to give that information to you as well today. And you can email that to jim@jlwhiteinternational.com. So once again, thank you for all that feedback, and we have received a tremendous amount of encouragement based on this new project, One World Living on Purpose. Today, we're going to drill down, my favorite word. We're going to drill down on Warren Buffett. For you that's not familiar with Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, Warren is famous for his annual letters to the shareholders, and he released his 2012 letter on February the 27th. And a lot of you viewers and a lot of my clients said, Jim, would you drill down on and kind of interpret what he had to say this year? So we're going to do that. And then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to you about another initiative that we're launching in the fourth quarter of 2012, which we think is going to have a lot of interest to you. And then the other things that we want to do today is to ask our local viewers to send us an email, specifically what you would like to see from the show, what other tools or information that we can make available to you, because remember the mission of the show is to inspire, it's to educate, and it's to give you tools that you can use immediately to help your life, both personal and professional, be better tomorrow. So anything that we can do, so let us hear from you. And once again, you can email the show through our website, jlwcos.tv. So give us that feedback as well, and we will certainly take a look at it and respond to your request. So take a look at this message, and we'll be right back with our first session.
This segment is brought to you by 12 O'Clock High Leadership and Management Summit. 12 O'Clock High is one of the undisputed best movie classics of all time. It is also one of the best business learning tools available. The movie rated #1 by top executives for its influence on their management styles. Now, the inspiration of the 12 O'Clock High Leadership and Management Summit, an innovative one-day event and 30-day follow-up where you will quickly see what's working and not working on the front lines of your company and in your own leadership style. Learn more at 12high.com. That's 12high.com.
Thank you very much, David. Friday, we had a 12 o'clock high in Tahiti's Mansion in San Jose. And I want to thank all the participants that shared today with us. 9 hours of nonstop. So I want to thank you for that. And our next 12 o'clock high will be on May 4th. If you're interested in that, once again, that's 12high.com, or you can find it through our website as well. You know, Warren Buffett, and as long as I've been in business, and for the past 40 years, he's been an individual that I have followed. Part of personal and professional success is going to school on others, right? Learning from others and taking what will work for you and discarding those other things that you don't think is going to work for you. But Warren Buffett, let's just take a look at his letter from recent release on February the 27th. And this is what I want to start off with, and we're going to start tying all these different pieces back to the circle of success. Now, once again, we're here to give you the tools, and a lot of our viewers have asked us to tie this letter together and tie it into the circle of success and how it all fits in the circle of success and how you can use this in layman's terms to really go out and put more money in your pocket, if you will. So here we go. And you can find this report on our homepage. We've got it in the viewer there, so you can go take a look at that as we can follow along, if you will. But what I want to start off is this phenomenal statistic, and this is from the letter to the shareholders from Berkshire Hathaway. Follow along with me. And what's interesting, since 1964, 1965, and Warren says in the last 47 years. Now, that's what's significant. In the past 47 years, the book value and the stock price has grown from $19 a share to over $99,860 a share. That's 19.8% compounded annually for the past 47 years. Now, that is phenomenal. Now, what has made Berkshire and Warren Buffett and his partner, Charlie Munger, so successful? Well, part of this is Buffett's ability to communicate and his ability to, from his plain-spoken approach, is to be able to build trust. And you remember a few weeks back we had Stephen M. Marcovey on the show for his new book, and it's all about trust. So these are the tools that Buffett is absolutely phenomenal with. Communication, his vision, building trust, and being out front, always open. He's an open book, and he's willing to give. He's willing to give information. He is a mentor to the world, if you will. And he is this rock. He's just solid. And right now, in the United States, he's playing a big part of help stabilize and help bringing confidence back into the investment sector, if you will. So we're going to drill down on some of the things that he talked about in his letter, looking at his annual report for 2011. Now, it's no secret that Warren Buffett is 80 in his early 80s, right? So succession planning has always been a big deal. And I want to read from his letter, and as you follow along, and I want to lay out some of the things that you viewers that are watching, and I know we got a lot of my clients that are watching today from their conference room, and I want you to sit back and really, really take this information in and see how you're doing with some of these attributes that Warren Buffett is talking about. Now, he's talking about succession, And he says the primary job, now what's significant here is the language, and this is what I really want you to get. The primary job of a board of directors is to see that the right people, and you've heard me talk about this not only on the show, but all of my workshops and consulting and coaching that we do. It's called the right person, right job, right time. Now that is a big deal. Now this is what Buffett is saying in his letter in the first paragraph to the shareholders. He's saying that the primary responsibility of the board of directors. So if you have a board of directors, you got to realize that their role and everybody is absolutely doing what is proper in that role, and it is to make sure that you have the right people are running the business and to be sure that the next generation. Now this is where a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of small businesses get themselves in trouble. Because as a business owner, or you believe that nothing's going to run past you, or everything stops with you, and that's called the egos getting in the way of your pocketbook. So I want to make sure that you're taking a real serious look at your enterprise today and saying, man, am I doing that? If you are, we got to knock it off, and you got to get a different system in place. You got to make sure that you are developing your people, you are planning for the future and building your bench, okay? Now, as we come back in the next segment, I'm gonna use the circle of success image behind me, and I'm going to point out and reinforce some of these things that we're talking about in our first segment, okay? So he goes on to say that the next generation of leaders, right? And he's identified and are ready to take over now. You got to be ready to take over. You got to be ready to move. You got to be in a position. So once again, that whole concept, right people, right job, right time, right? You're going to hear me say that over and over and over. And you're going to say, Jim, I get it. I understand that. But do you really get it? Now, so that's where I want to make sure that we're really drilling down on this in a very strong way. Now, as Warren continues through his letter, and like I said, we're not about to read everything that he's had in this letter. That's the reason I made the whole report. 103 pages on our website, jlwcos.tv. It's available to you to take a look at this, because there's lessons there that you can really take advantage of, okay? Now, one of the things that he continues to talk about, he talks about each segment. He breaks down each segment of the business, and what's significant here is what gets measured gets managed, okay? Now, one thing that he does extremely well in his enterprise, he has separate accounting. Everything is measured, and everything is a standalone, and make sure that everybody that's involved in that business has true accountability, okay? So we're going to come back after this break, and we're going to drill down on what he says now not so good news, okay? So bear with us. We'll be right back after this break. You're watching KYMB TV, Comcast Channel 19.
Clarity of purpose. Are you a recent college graduate, unemployed, an entrepreneur, or considering a career change? A business owner or employee struggling with performance issues? Classes are forming now for the worldwide phenomenon, What's My Purpose Life Mastery Course 2.0. What's My Purpose Life Mastery Course 2.0 can help you define your goals and vision. Start living your life on purpose. Living on purpose is about joy. Living on purpose is about intention. Living on purpose is about personal transformation and continued growth. What's My Purpose Life Mastery Course 2.0 is a 12-week challenging course that helps you address finances, relationships, spiritual growth, physical and mental health. You will reclaim your personal power and get your life on track to attain true success. Classes are forming now for What's My Purpose Life Mastery Course 2.0. Learn more and register at whatsmypurpose.com. That's whatsmypurpose.com.
Thank you, David, and we're back. Before I get into the segment of the letter that Warren says, I've run out of good news. Here are some developments. I've run out of good news. Here's some of the developments that hurt us. Now, what is significant about that language? The significance of that language is when you make a mistake, when you blow it, you stand up and you assume the responsibility. Now, all of the consulting, all the coaching, and what I see and my staff sees on a daily basis, sometimes we're not willing to do that. Our clients are not willing to do that. If you make a mistake, you got to come straight forward, because if you do, people are going to be forgiven, if you will. Now, this is how he put it in his letter. He says, a few years back, I spent about $2 billion buying several bond issues of Energy Future Holdings, right? An electric utility operation serving portions of Texas. Now, he goes on to say that straight up, this was a mistake. This is what I want you to get out of this particular portion from this letter. When this happens, say it's a mistake. If you will do that, you'll start building that reputation, not only from your employees, but from your vendors, your supply chain, and your bankers and your investors, that yes, we're not perfect, but when we do make a mistake, we're not going to try to hide. We're not going to try to run from it. We're going to absolutely deal with it straight up. Now, again, I see billions of dollars being drained from your bank account annually because we try to cover things up and we don't address the real fact and deal with it. Now, one thing, and I'm going to continue on this, and I'm going to see what he says here. He says it was a big mistake, right? Now, bear with me. He says, in large measure, the company's prospects were tied to the price of natural gas. Okay, so when you have a particular company or you have a particular, and it's tied to one particular sector, that is a potential kiss of death. So what I want you to do today is to think about all of your revenue streams and to make sure that you don't have all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. So this is absolutely critical that you do that self-evaluation today, now, okay? Now, he goes on to say that big mistake, in large measure, the company's process were tied to the prices of natural gas, right? We talked about that, which tanked shortly after our purchase and remains depressed, okay? Remains depressed. Now, what did he do? Well, at year end, we carried the bonds at their market value of $878 million, and the numbers are really not that significant. It's just the point of what he did in the decision that he made. The decision he did that he actually wrote down, and this is some of the things that some of the areas that I see businesses make a mistake as well. When you have an asset, especially in this economy, if you've got to just come to grips and say, man, my value of this particular asset is down. It's on my books at this amount. You've got to really bite the bullet and write it off, write it down. So if you don't, you'll never be able to move forward in a positive way, because you're dealing with some inflated value of asset, if you will. So this is what he's saying here in this particular page of the letter. So I want to make sure that you, the business owner, the CEOs, your CFOs, your accountants, your controllers, all that, make sure that you take a serious look at your balance sheet, and if you have, and do that evaluation, and if you got some stuff that's causing you a lot of problems, take a hit now, get it off the books, get it cleaned up. Now, I know a lot of you are going to fight that to a certain degree, and you're going to fight it for the following reasons. Because it's going to impact your P&L, right? Yes, it will. But if you can come straight up and say, in this case, if you have some covenants with your bank or your lender, you come straight up and say, this is what I'm doing, they're going to appreciate that more by eventually you just keep going and you just keep going and you don't address it, right? But eventually you will have to address it. So as they say in the South, the chickens will come home to roost. So you will have to address this sooner or later. And I can tell you this, I don't know of a banker out there that's not going to look at you and say, hey, this is pretty good. We understand. We can work with you. But if you hang on, not addressing it, they're going to question your leadership ability, right? They're going to have huge, huge issues with you not dealing with these issues, right? So as I told you at the beginning of the show, today is about education. Today is about inspiring you to take some action on these issues. And today's is a real class and what you should be doing and looking at your books and all the leadership styles that you should be developing and having in place, right? Now, there's another thing that I want to add when we're talking about bankers. Remember a show on the 20th of February? We had David Drake. David Drake, the investment banker out of New York, and we were talking about this crowdfunding, right? As this being a real opportunity to raise money. Now, there's an event that's going to happen in March 13th and 14th in Los Angeles, and you can read more about it on the website. So if you are in a place that you believe that it would benefit you to look at some alternatives to raising funds for your business, I'd encourage you to be there. I also want to be very careful and say this is, at this stage, this is not, this new crowdfunding law has not been signed by the president or passed by the Senate. It has been passed by the Congress. So you cannot sell equity other than the normal way right now. But what you can do is to sell product or services in a very unique way as well. So that's a great opportunity if you're looking to, start in the second quarter, third quarter, if you're looking at different ways to add top and bottom line revenue, okay? So I'd encourage you to attend that event if you're looking to raise some money in that area, okay? Now, what we need to do is to get in another break, and we come back. We're going to continue to drill down on Warren Buffett's annual letter to his shareholders. So you're watching KYMB TV Comcast Channel 19, and we'll be right back after this break.
What is strong? Is it muscle or something more? Is it measured in miles or milliseconds? Is it your best time or your worst day? Maybe strong is just what you have left when you've used up all your weak.
Welcome back. I wanted to show that clip again this week. We used it last week as well. Why? Because I think it goes to the heart of the strong. And sometimes the skills and the attributes that you must have, especially in these economies, that you must be strong, perseverance, and the commitment and the faith and the courage to be able to make some of these decisions. Now, I want to hone in on the word courage here for a moment. It took courage from Warren Buffett to come out and to say to the world, I blew it. I made a $2 billion investment and I blew it. But nonetheless, he is financially strong enough. And this is the significance here. So many businesses are running so close to the edge that if you make a mistake, you're going to crash and burn. This is the reason it's so important that you spend the time, once again, getting the right people in the right job, doing the right thing consistently, and that you are setting aside the reserves. And as I stated earlier, about looking at your assets and making sure that your assets are at the market value. If you got to take a write down, go ahead and do that write down. and I think we have a little technical things going on here, and we'll get those fixed here in a moment. The write down and to make sure that we're doing all these right things, okay? Now, part of the right things is to making sure that we are using all the tools that we have on the screen behind us, okay? All those tools. Now, what I'm going to do is to turn around, and I want you to follow along with me, because I want to reinforce a few things here that we've covered thus far in the show, coming from Warren Buffett's, coming from his letter, and see how it fits within the circle of success. Okay, so if you look behind us, we're looking at first the vision, the clarity that you have for your business moving forward. Vision is where you want to be in the future. Well, I think it's very clear based on 47 years of history that that's been a real strength of Berkshire Hathaway, is a very clear vision for their enterprise. Now, the next thing that you will see on this side here is the mission, right? And you've heard me talk about this many times, but it's absolutely critical, especially as we're getting close of coming to the end of the first quarter. And I'm not saying that's your fiscal year, but we're coming into the first quarter, and it's that time to kind of sit back and say, have I accomplished everything in the first 2 calendar months that I need to be accomplishing in order to make sure that I am driving forward to my top line and my bottom line? Because business is an intellectual sport. It is an intellectual sport, and if you are not focusing on a daily basis, and if you're not doing something daily to move forward to produce an outcome which is going to give you revenue, controlling your cost, and creating reserves, you're going to be in trouble. There's no question about it. And you're just going to be so-so. You'll never break through that real barrier of huge financial success. Now, on Friday at my 12 o'clock high, we were having a discussion, and it was a very healthy discussion, and the question I asked the participants was, why do you get up every morning? Why do you get out of bed? And they said, well, to be able to go make money to pay the bills. Yeah, okay, well, how about, why don't we wordsmith that just a little bit, if that's okay with you? And I want you to do the same. The reason you get up every morning is to create a quality of life that you choose for you and your family, right? Absolutely. So these are the things that we're talking about, and these are some of the lessons that we can learn from the Warren Buffetts of the world, and to make sure that you can recognize all these tools that's behind the Inner Circle of Success and how they fit, so you can do what I call a financial health check and a temperature check of your enterprise to make sure you're doing these things. Now, it's very, very critical, it's very important that we do these things. Why? Things done consistently, the right way, over and over and over, will produce extraordinary results. There's no question about it. They just will. If you have not taken the time to really sit down and make a decision and have the discussion, and sometimes the very difficult discussion as to where you want to go in the future, where you want to be, say, 1 year from today, 2 years from today, whatever it may be. If you want to just fake it, go day by day, then that's not going to get you the results you're looking for. You're not going to be happy with those results. Okay, you're just not going to be happy with those results whatsoever, and I can assure you that. Now, another thing that Warren Buffett says in his letter that's extremely important. He is focusing on 3 areas, and like I said, every segment that he has, every business unit that he has a separate standalone accounting, right? And you got three areas that you got three scorecards, right? Three scorecards, and that's your P&L, and that's your balance sheet, and that's your cash flow. If you do not have those things readily available for you no later than the 3rd or the 4th day of the month, this is the 5th day of March, and if you're not looking at all of your financials from the previous month, you're absolutely in trouble. If you're receiving all your information, say mid-month or the end of the month, it's useless stuff. And so once again, what gets measured, what gets done. What gets measured is what gets managed. Okay? That's the only way that you can really start developing a consistent success, consistent earnings. And why? Because, again, you're working for that quality of life. If you're this entrepreneur, at the end of the day, you're doing this, and wow, I want to get this company ready maybe for somebody's going to be able to buy it. Maybe I can do an IPO. Maybe it can be a strategic alignment with another organization. These are the real discussions that you need to have. And I see over and over and over, and I see, unfortunately, too many people coming out of college that are not prepared for this journey of running a business. And I think we need to work on it, and we need to change that a little bit. A little sidebar there, right? So where are you going with that? But it's absolutely critical that we continue to look at our enterprise. So once again, what Buffett is saying, he measures each and every enterprise. They all stand alone. He makes sure that if he makes a mistake, he communicates that he made a mistake. He deals with the mistake. In this case, he did a write down and the proper thing to do. And another thing that he does, why? In this case, because he's got some financial reserves to be able to do it. A lot of their businesses don't have the reserves to do what I'm about to share with you. And what I'm about to share, he holds on to some businesses that may be kind of underperforming, maybe a little bit too long, okay? Now, he can do that because, like I said, he's got the financial reserves in order to be able to pull it off. But I see too many of my clients and too many of you that's viewing today, you may be holding on and not being able to make that call. Why? Because you may not have all the information that you need to be able to make the call, or you may allow your ego to get in your way of your pocketbook, which happens a lot, especially for entrepreneurs, especially for small businesses. Our ego just gets in the way. And how many times have I talked about ego so far today? I've said it 3 or 4 different times, because that is a kiss of death if you fall in love with your assets and then you're not dealing and you're not measuring the bottlenecks and the choke holes, if you will, okay? Now, we're going to get another break in, and when we come back from that break, I am going to go through a series of questions, and we're going to make this available to you from our website as well at the end of the show, so you can download it, so you can have a tool that you can take a look at your business today. So you can do that evaluation, have that checklist, okay? And this is what we use, this is what we get paid for in our consulting business, and we're gonna give it to you today. So you're watching KYMB TV, Comcast Channel 19. We'll be right back after this break.
Business is constantly changing. The challenges of the 21st century have never been greater. There is competition in every field, and technology is more fluid than ever. Bold, innovative thinking is needed. Organizations and individuals are looking for leadership, opportunity, and a way to grow. That way is finally here.
I love teaching. I love sharing. I love sharing from the heart, connecting what I call the heart and the head.
Hundreds of companies and thousands of people have been inspired by one man.
Even from nothing you can accomplish if you have the will, if you have the perseverance, if you will work hard on setting goals, and achieving those goals and holding yourself accountable to each and every one of those goals.
Jim White has dedicated his life to inspiring excellence in people.
A+. The man was knowledgeable. He had lived everything he talked about. He was extremely sincere. He was succinct, and he was inspirational.
He's given me some thought and some ideas on how to reset my goals and how to restructure my life.
A hugely successful businessman himself, Jim decided years ago to share his knowledge. Over the past 30 years, Jim White has mentored everyone from Fortune 500 CEOs to small business owners. He has helped numerous companies and individuals achieve their financial and personal goals. His circle of success is a blueprint for excellence and achievement.
I got the strong feeling that Mr. White was speaking from a huge amount of experience built up over the decades, which I think adds a lot of dimension to this kind of a seminar.
Wants to make you get up and do something tomorrow about changing your life.
J.L. White International is a management consulting and leadership development organization. Through workshops and one-to-one training, Jim and his staff have inspired audiences all over the country and have been able to achieve remarkable results by focusing on human capital and designing customized solutions to increase revenue and productivity. J.L. White International is guaranteed to inspire excellence. Isn't it time you discovered what true excellence in business is really like?
Okay, we're back. Thank you, Dave. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to give you the keys to the kingdom. This is especially great for our entrepreneurs, and it's actually for public traded companies across the board. And what we will do at the end of the show, we'll make this report as a download, and I'm going to put it here so you can look at it. It's what we call your vital few. Very good, okay? And we're going to go through that, and I'm going to zero in on some components that you need to make sure that you're doing in your business on a daily basis. So once again, the show today is one of education. We're giving you a lot of tools, and one of our consultants to come out, we're charge you a lot of money for this stuff, right? So pad and pen, and then we will, like I said, make it available via our website so you can download this, okay? Now, in this whole review, within the context of looking at Buffett's annual shareholder letter, and looking at your business, existing business, or maybe you're thinking about starting a new business, or maybe you just love to learn. Well, we're about to give you some stuff to really put to use, okay? Now, when you're looking at your business, question that we ask, and I want you to ask yourself, when you have had a bad month financially, question, like I said, the 5th day of the month, you should be looking at your financials right now. And this is where you can have this report beside you. When you have had a bad month financially, what are the reasons? This is where it requires absolute honesty with yourself to be able to call it, put no excuses, and to be able to say, here's the reason. This is what happened. Okay? What has happened that shouldn't have happened. Now, this is a consistent thing that you do, what I call scanning, every day. And especially at the end of the month where you're looking at your previous month activity, right? So it's critical that you do this. So if you've had a bad month, if you did not meet your financial goals, you need to ask the question, and you need to break through, and you need to sit down, take your time it's necessary, and really find out where the hiccups were in order to be able to make a corrective action, right? So once again, when you've had a bad month financially, what are the reasons? What has happened that should have not happened, or what didn't happen that should have happened? So what happened that should have not? What happened that you did not do, right? Now, so you've done that and you say, okay. And this is where, like I said, it takes really courage, and you got to be strong and not allow your ego to get in your way when you're evaluating your business this way. The next question that I would ask you to ask at this time, looking at February's results. The question is, what are the significant revenue drivers in your businesses? Now, what you're looking to do is to be able to develop your business so you've got different revenue streams. You need different revenue streams, not just one stream, not all your apples in one basket, if you will. Now, this would be volume or size of the sales or the deals in the pipeline, backlog, and all this type of thing, okay? So what are the significant revenue drivers? So what are they? I want you to be thinking about that right now. Now, the next question that you would ask, you're looking at February's results, if you will, what are the significant determinants of your number of sales? In other words, what must happen in order for you to get an opportunity to put a proposal, to build your pipeline, and then to be able to convert it, close it, then be able to invoice it, make earnings, collect the money, and so on and so forth, okay? So what are the significant determinants for your number of sales, right? So you can think about that. Number 4 question that you'd want to ask and doing your evaluation would be, what are the most significant controllable or variable expenses in your business? Now, these are expenses, controllable and variable. If you do not have a handle on that from your accounting system, shame on you. You need to address it. You need to address it now. I can assure you, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, has a handle on every expense whatsoever. And you've got to do the same, okay? Now, number 5 question that you should be looking at for your February results, okay? What are the choke points? What are the choke points or bottlenecks in your business? Now, that's where you got to step away and, once again, do not allow the ego to get in your way and to be able to say, man, these things are absolutely getting in my way. It could be a process or it could be a person. It could be a vendor, whatever it may be. What are they? And you're probably complaining right now about, well, I didn't get this, or this a vendor made a commitment, they didn't follow through. Well, and then if you made a commitment to your customer, and then you see how it rolls downhill, if you will. So it's all about your credibility. If you fail on a commitment that you make to a customer, your credibility is shot, okay? It happened immediately, okay? Now, so once again, what are your bottlenecks or what are your choke points in your business today? Now, question number 6. This is a big one. Who is the person on the ground who is specifically responsible and accountable for each of the above? Now, I'm stating that very, very carefully, because if you cannot answer that question, you're in trouble. You've got to make sure that everyone that's on your payroll has accountability, and you're measuring and you are holding them accountable. No exception, okay? There cannot be any exceptions there. And I know a lot of you are saying, right, whoa, Jim, that's kind of brutal, it's kind of hard. Well, it may be, but it's true. It is true. Your ability to produce consistent results in any economy is going to be your measure of your leadership ability, and not just in the good time, right? And these are the things that you've got to have in place. Now, we're blessed to work with a lot of clients, and like I said, J.L. White International has been in business for 20 years now. And we're fortunate, we're blessed, and we're humbled by the trust that our clients have in us. When the wheels started coming off the economic wagon in 2008, one thing that came true for us, or apparent for us, we got a lot of emails saying, Jim, These things that we have been working with you on right now has saved our bacon. Saved our bacon because we're prepared. Our job is to help you to see or make the invisible visible. And you can only do that by doing all of these things that we're talking about here today. So once again, the purpose of the show today is to give you some real tools, real checklists that you can use immediately, do a health check of your business for the end of February, make some corrective actions, and get ready for March, and to be able to close out the first quarter of 2012, okay? Now, question number 7 is, well, let me see. No, I'm going to go to question, I got 6.1, okay? Now, this 6.1, I've seen a lot of people squirm in their seat a lot over the years when I start drilling down on this. Who is responsible for? Who is responsible for bad things that happen? You see what we're doing here? I mean, we're going to the belly of the beast, right? Who's responsible for bad things that happen? For the revenue drivers, for the sales, for the expenses, and the choke points. Who are they? Right now, write the name down. Who is it? And you know what? Once you put a name beside that, then I ask you to step back and then have a conversation with those individuals and ask them the question and see if you guys, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's on the same page. I think you're going to be surprised to find out that you probably are not, okay? And that is a absolute. You're just throwing money away. You're creating stress. You're creating aggravation. You're eroding your trust. All these things are happening in your enterprise, okay? Now, one thing that I want you to think about as well before we've got a couple of minutes before we get another break in here, but question number 7 to self and evaluation for February. How frequently do each of the above need to be measured or monitored for you to stay on schedule and achieve your goal? Now, you could be a car wash, you could be flying 747s, making widgets. I don't care what it is. However, what's important is this. It is absolutely important that you know how frequently you should be measuring things. Is it hourly? Is it daily? Is it weekly, semi-monthly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually, whatever it may be? Now, if you're running a car wash, maybe it's hourly, right? So you've got to decide how frequently you need to be measuring things in order to be able to make sure that you're moving forward to do what? Create revenue or turn assets into cash. And to be able to have enough money at the end of the day left over to put in your pocket to be able to create these reserves and continue to build a healthy enterprise. I want you, if you're just thinking about starting a business today, I want you to make sure that you take these tools that we're making available to you and make sure that you got good records, consistent records, and if you got consistent records over a long period of time, and you may wake up, wow, man, maybe I built something that I want to go sell to a Google of the world or whoever it may be. Well, I tell you what, if you got good records, then you're prepared when that opportunity presents itself, right? So this is what we're talking about here. Tools and strategies that you really need to be prepared with immediately, okay? So we're going to get another break in. We come back, we're going to review a couple more left from our Vital Few checklist. You're watching KYMB TV, Comcast Channel 19.
This segment is brought to you by Circle of Success, a dynamic, year-long intensive management and leadership development process designed to help individuals and organizations reach their goals quickly. A customized process addressing specific needs and identifying the critical opportunities particular to the individual and organization, with results measured in increased revenue, increased net profits, and increased equity. The Circle of Success, inspiring excellence in people. At jlwhiteinternational.com/circles.
Thank you, Dave. We're back. The circle of success really aligns to this question number 8. And I've already touched on it briefly earlier in the show, and we'll do it again. With question number 7, I said, how frequently do you need to measure it? Hourly, daily, weekly, and so on? And then where we're talking about who's responsible for what, and you put a name to it and then sit down and make sure that everybody's on the same page. Then when you do that, it's critical that the person responsible for these or accountable, do they really know the vision, the mission, and your organizational values? Big deal. You see here, vision, mission, organizational values. That sets the culture for your organization. Culture. I had an opportunity just a couple of weeks ago to have some dialogue with what I think is a phenomenal company. It's called Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. They were started in 1981, and the culture is all about values, vision, missions, and fair practice and business models. Okay, so I'd encourage you to check those out, because what are we doing? We go to school, and everyone, we are here to learn and take best practices and to be able to implement those in your business. It is okay to go to school and others, okay? It is okay. And to make sure that you are absolutely zero in on the vital few, right? You've heard me. That's a new concept that I want you to remember forever, rest of your career. Am I focusing on the most vital things, day in and day out, that's going to help me drive revenue to the top line? Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of emails and say, well, is this driving revenue at all costs? Absolutely not. It is not. It is driving revenues based on organizational values and based on culture. Like I said, I point out, and I can point out thousands of other companies, but Green Mountain Coffee Roasters was just fresh on my mind, or some different discussion we had with some of their wonderful people here of recent, that I just wanted to acknowledge. I mean, it was phenomenal. 2010 to 2011, and they're a publicly traded company. Their top line revenue increase, I think, was about 95%. And their bottom line, about 175%. And when I asked the question, what made this occur? They looked at me and smiled. Culture. They believe in developing their people. They believe in measuring everything. They believe in a fair practice and making sure everybody in the supply chain is a win-win. And I know that word is overused too many times, but these people really walk it, okay? And that's what I want you to do. And so does Warren Buffett's organizations. And one of the companies that Warren Buffett, Berkshire, acquired, 2009, maybe 2010, was BNSF Railroads. Well, I mean, that was a huge acquisition. And right now, the returns, and you just don't get any more brick and mortar, if you will, than a railroad. And you've heard us talk about the infrastructure issues that we have in the United States. Well, I want you to go check this out. Railroads are highly regulated, and they're also privately owned. The investment that private sector is making into railroads today is huge. I think it was like $8 billion invested by Berkshire. So that was an acquisition that Berkshire Hathaway did, and it was an acquisition based on Warren Buffett and his partner Charlie Munger and the rest of his staff, that they believe investing in America, if you will. As gasoline prices continue to push $5 a gallon, you're going to see freight, what's called intermodal intermodal transportation. That's where we're taking freight and it's put onto rail cars, and that's how we're getting across in cost-efficient way. So that's another big deal. So whatever you're looking at in your enterprises, it's a big deal that you are looking at different revenue streams, okay, and the diversification. But please do not try to be all things to all people, okay? Now, so we've drilled down on some highlights of Warren Buffett's 2012 shareholder letter. We have, as best we can, to interpret what that means and how you can go to school on it. We have talked about how that fits in a big way in the circle of success. And we also gave you a checklist of questions. And once again, you'll be able to download this from the website by 6 o'clock tonight. I will make sure it gets there. So you can do a temperature check of your enterprise now and to be able to, if you got issues, just bring them to the surface so you can recognize them, okay? So hopefully this is going to help you as you plan for the rest of the March. Now, in our remaining time, I want to share with you that we're working on a very exciting initiative. We've got a lot of things going on in the show and our enterprises, as you know. And one of them that you're going to hear more about, and it's going to be in the fall, September, October time range, it's our Global Security and Leadership Summit. It's going to become an annual event. We're very excited about it. This event is designed for CEOs and business owners, and we have some of the most talented speakers in the world that's going to be addressing cybersecurity, terrorism, leadership, all of these great things that we must master that's absolutely getting in the way. And so that's coming up, so we'll keep you posted on that, okay? So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your attention. I want to thank you for your feedback. So once again, send us an email at jim@jointernational.com with any suggestion you may have. Till next Monday, I will see you then. You're watching KYMB TV, Comcast Channel 19.
This has been Jim White's Circle of Success Show. Please visit our website, jlwcos.tv. Join us next time as Jim White brings it all together on Jim White's Circle of Success.